Hi, everyone. My name is Malin. This is Peony. I hope all of you can hear me. We're going to start now. What we're going to do is basically, I'll just quickly talk about basically what we'll be doing for the next 2 hours, and then we'll jump into the different activities that we have planned right now. Okay, so first, Peony and I will give a basic, quick introduction to what DWI is and our project and what we plan on doing. And then we'll have a quick icebreaker where we'll get to know each other. We'll talk about who we are and where we're from, and basically have a quick discussion about what we find interesting about technology and what we don't, what sort of problems we have with technology and so on, right? And then we'll have a quick break and we'll come back, and then basically we'll have a couple of sessions on the main topics that we want to discuss. So we are hoping to talk about privacy. We are hoping to talk about cyberbullying, addiction, as well as misinformation, and we'll basically be talking about those issues. And finally, then we'll wrap up and talk about what our plans for the next couple of sessions are going to be. Right. So can everyone hear me? Is everyone having technical difficulties or connection problems? If anyone has any problems, can you all?
And if you guys can keep your videos on, that will be great.
Yes.
Unless, of course, you have data issues, it will be great to see all of you. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Yay, it's great to see some faces.
Exactly.
Nice background, Okita.
Okay, thanks, guys. That's great. Okay, so let's start with what DWI is. Okay, so DWI is just right at the moment, we are just a bunch of friends, right? So we're a bunch of friends who been really concerned about how technology is changing us, right? Not just us, how it's changing society, right? And so what we thought is, let's get together and we'll try to deal with some of these issues, right? In the best way we can deal with it. And then hopefully we can get more people to come together and start talking about some of these issues, right? Because there's a lot of issues around digital technology that we are not really talking about enough. And it's a huge problem in today's society. So I think it's affecting you guys more than us, right? And I mean, it is affecting us as well. But we think that if we can get all of you to tell us how exactly it's affecting you and how we can help and how we can together try and solve at least some of the problems. That's basically the goal of the Digital Wellbeing Initiative and why we started. So the exciting thing is, you guys are part of the first project that we're planning on doing, which is called Reconnect Us, right? So most of you have seen the flyer, and then you applied to this project, and we saw really amazing submissions from this, right? So what we want to do with Reconnect Us is basically, we want to get all of you to help us make a few videos talking about these issues from your perspective, right? So instead of I'm sure most of you are already your parents are probably telling you stay off your phone, right? Your teachers are probably telling you stay off your phone, right? So instead of all these adults like us telling you what to do, we want all of you to start thinking about these problems and start telling each other what's the best way we can deal with some of these things, right? So as much as sometimes, our parents can be annoying, some of these problems, I'm sure all of you can agree, are problems that you guys are facing, right? Like things like cyberbullying, things like addiction. And I'm sure we'll hear from all of you. So these are all problems we're dealing with. So as much as our parents are annoying about it, I'm sure all of you can recognize that these are problems that are affecting all of us, not just you guys, it's affecting us as well, which is why we started this whole Digital Wellbeing Initiative. So what we hope to do with Reconnect Us is to get all of you to give us feedback and all of you to create the solution, be part of the solution, right? So what we hope to do is, maybe by the end of this, close to about 6 months period, we want to produce a set of videos where you guys get to write the videos, write the scripts, act in them, right? Hopefully when the Corona situation gets a little better, right? And then basically what we want to do is start to share these videos in social media, right? And we want to do it in all 3 languages. So we've gotten people and like all of you from different backgrounds, different languages, right? So that we can make these videos as representative as possible, right? So today's workshop will be doing in English, and Pumi will tell you a little bit more about the language approach that we're going to take for this. We'll try our best to accommodate Sinhala and Tamil as well, and Pumi will talk a little bit about that. But that's basically the idea behind Reconnect Us. And what's cool is basically this project will end up, there'll be a festival in December where we'll be basically putting out these videos, as well as also getting all of you to come and talk to an audience and basically interact with people and tell them your experiences around this, right? So there's going to be this big festival in December that all of you can be part of as well. Right. Another really interesting aspect of this is we want to, put this out there in social media. We might even have the possibility of getting, like TV media involved and try and get these videos out. So it's a very exciting project to be part of, and we are really glad to have all of you, because we saw all the hard work that you guys have put in, and it's very exciting. So I'll hand it over to Pumi now to talk about a few things.
Hi everyone. So some of you I already know. So I want to also start off. I know we are starting off in English. හැබැයි අපිට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට comfortable ඕනෙම භාෂාවකින් අපිත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Just today though, sadly, we have another team member, Chris, who was to communicate with us in Tamil and to kind of help us out on translation. So sadly, he's not here today, but our good friend Aksa has volunteered to help out with today's translations for Tamil. So today we'll be running mainly, like primarily in English, but if you have any questions, problems or terms, api yana gaman, as we are going along, we are going to try and put on the translations on screen as much as possible. Api translations dagena yanawa habai, but in any case, you have a question, or if we are going too fast, you can always raise your hand and we will stop and do the translations. Does that sound okay with you guys?
The thumbs up.
Yep. Okay, great. So first of all, I would say I went through all of your applications. So we got actually 50 applications, and it was a tough choice. Like ideally, it would have been great to have all of you, and also because we have that physical space, like because we are on Zoom, and as most of you are, I'm sure, are going to online school and knows the difficulties of doing, on online platforms, we also had to limit on that end as well. So all of your applications were great, and there was so much diversity. Just to tell you, there were videos, there were original songs, there was spoken word poetry, the scripts, then short stories, and there were animations. Yeah, and we were actually thrilled and really excited to get started with you, because I feel like we can find really exciting forms of working with all of you. So as we go along, I'm sure we can keep sharing some of this work. Some of the work I was feeling was already already I felt were things you could share among your friends and get really great feedback on the subject. So I'm really thankful for all the work you put for that, and really excited that you're also very conscious. Again, and it's great to have you guys on board. So also I want to tell you guys, so this is going to be collaborative, right? Api make api lead කරනවා මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ participate වෙනවා වගේ තැනකට යන්න නැතුව, කියන්නේ rather than us leading, you participating, we have to try and make it as collaborative as possible, because all of you are really talented, and I feel like you have the potential to be researchers, be advocates. So the first thing I'm going to ask of you is to participate as much as possible, because that's the best way we're going to get something really good out of this. Have fun and get this to be exciting rather than every other, Zoom class or online school class where, we're like, is anyone there? So let's try and make it as interactive as possible. And the next thing is honesty, right? So more than a lot of other things, we are also going to have a research element. You can make a research element. Again, like I said, this is by kids for kids, right? That is, can make a taruna ඔගොල්ලෝ විසින් ඔගොල්ලොන්ටම කරන research project එකක්. So because of that, we want it to be as authentic, rather than it like sounding like coming from adults. We want you to be as honest with us as possible. So as we go along, we'll have questionnaires, we'll try to do research, and we might ask you your experience. So even when it comes to these experiences, answers, research, don't answer in the ways you think we expect answers of you, which happens a lot when you are doing a survey. Sometimes we think about what is the right answer. There is no right answer. The right answer is your truth to it, right? So let's try to be as honest and be as inquisitive as possible, even about yourself. Like when some of these questions or research that we are doing together, try to, one thing, have a journey for yourself and also for the group as well. So මෙතන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් ඕගොල්ලොන්ගේම digital යහපැවැත්ම ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් analyze කරන්න. And also you can use it for yourself and for the group and for all your friends. So that's everything from me. Hope you guys have fun. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So as Amy said, like we want this to be something that we all can do together, right? So if you all have to, have any questions or have any ideas, don't be shy to just unmute your camera unmute your Zoom at any point and just start talking. Okay. So we just want this to be just like talking between friends. Okay. So just to kickstart things off, let's get to know each other. Right. So I told you the Digital Wellbeing Initiative was basically started by 5 of us. By the way, can you all still hear me, or am I having technical problems?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. All good. Okay.
So like I said before, it's just started with the 5 of us, and so we'll introduce ourselves, and then we'll start basically opening up for you guys to introduce yourselves as well. So we're going to do this with a small game, right? So I have a pen here. If all of you can get a pen.
It doesn't have to be a pen.
Yeah,
it can
some
be
sort of object. Yeah, just get some sort of object.
So
right?
those of you,
I need to find a pen. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Get some sort of object that's lying around in your table, right?
So those of you who have issues with video, don't worry about it. We can just call out your names.
Yeah.
And also, kids, if you can rename yourself, some of you, the names on your Zoom are perhaps names your parents or your siblings used for their Zoom meeting. So if we can all change your name.
So to change your Zoom name, you go to where your name is and right click it. Actually, yeah, there's an option called More. When you go to More, there's something called Rename, and you can rename your name. So if that's possible, then we would know your actual names. Okay, so cool. So I'm going to start. So what I'm going to do is to take this object and you pass it on to the next person in the screen. So onto my left, I see Nishan. So if I pass this to Nishan, he will be getting this pen from the right, from the left side, the other side.
The other side? Okay, the other side.
Yeah, for me, it's coming from the front. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be passing it to you.
Nice.
And once I pass this object to you, Nishan will basically introduce himself, basically tell us who he is, what he does, and one thing he likes about the internet and one thing he dislikes about the internet. Okay. So I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to first pass it on to the DWI group, and then we'll pass it on to all of you, right? So because you might be in different places in the screen, when you're passing it to someone, mention their name.
Yeah.
Okay?
And if you're passing it to someone who's switched off the screen, that's okay. Just tell their names.
Okay, cool. So my name is Malin, right? I'm an engineer. And one thing I like about the internet are dog memes. I love all the pictures of dogs on the internet. One thing I really hate about the internet is all the fake news and misinformation and things like that. That really gets me angry. So now I'm passing the pen to Piyumi.
One thing I'm Piyumi. Hi guys, I'm Piyumi. I'm a theatre director and a writer and a creative artist. I work at Stages Theatre Group. It's an ensemble theatre group. And one thing I hate about the internet is I'm kind of addicted to my phone, and I had to recently put an app also. So I keep going. So I, like a robot, keep going back to it. So that's one thing I hate. One thing I love is that now you can learn anything on the internet. So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to pass this to Sanjit. Sanjit, I'm working here.
Sanjit, you're
Sanjit.
muted. We
Sanjit
can't
is
hear
stuck,
you.
but it's
Sanjit,
okay.
you're
Yeah,
muted.
yeah, yeah. I'm on mute. I'm on mute. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
I am
Sanjit.
Hi, Sanjit.
Sanjit.
Sanjit's connection is
I work as an analyst. One thing I hate about the internet is, the constant scrolling and getting stuck on your devices. And one thing I love about the internet are the memes, especially Sri Lankan meme content, political meme content. Okay, so I am going to pass this on to Nishan. You are on the right of my screen.
Am I getting it the right way? Is this correct? I got it anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the pen now. Hi guys, so I'm Nishan. I work as a digital marketer and also communications personnel at the Ceylon Chamber. So one thing I like about the internet is that I'm able to connect with all my friends. I'm able to connect with them wherever they are, maybe in Sri Lanka or in other countries. And one thing I hate about it is that, well, everyone thinks that you have to answer their messages instantly. Even when I'm busy with something, they're like, answer it, yeah. And I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword in that sense. All right. So I think next to me is Chiran Gunasekara. Chiran, I'm going to pass you the pen. I don't know which way it's going to come to you from. Here we go. It's going to come to you. Yeah, that's fine. There we go.
Hi, I'm Chiran. I still go to school. I love drawing and animating. Something I love about the internet is spreading awareness about stuff, and something I hate about the internet is cancel culture. Yeah, that's all I actually have to say. Okay, I'm gonna send this to Okita, who's under me.
What is that?
So I have a chili-based jar. I'm sorry about that. I don't have a pen with me right now. Hi, I'm Okita. I also go to school and I don't have a job. I think one thing I would like about the internet is that it gives a voice to a lot of issues, but I think I mostly hate the internet. But the second thing, what I dislike about the internet is that, you know, things like privacy is a bit hard on the internet, and there's different issues that come up on the internet regarding that. And that's mainly what I would have to say, which I dislike about it. So under me is Dunit. I'm going to pass my chili paste jar to him.
Hi everyone, I'm Dunit. I'm a student at St. Thomas's College. What I probably love about the internet is like the convenience, like having to watch movies, having access to a lot of things. The con though probably for me is like the fact that it's so draining, like having to keep up with everything all the time. I'm gonna pass the pen down to Shakya. I'm sorry if I'm misspelling your name. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Shakya and I'm currently doing a degree in psychology. What I like about the internet is the fact that you can learn so much. You can literally learn anything that you want. I also like the fact that you have access to all the movies from the 90s, which are pretty cool. What I don't like about the internet is the fact that I think there's a lack of diversity where we don't really accept other people's opinions and ideas. And that's what I don't like about it, that we don't really accept diversity. So I'm going to be passing my pen to Aksa, who is below me at the bottom.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So my name is Aksa, and I'm currently working now as a operations analyst. And what I like about the internet is that you have lots of pictures of dogs. I've always wanted a pet. I never had one. So you have lots of cute pictures of dogs, lots of cute videos. What I don't like about the internet is that you have a lot of hate speech going around, especially when you have different views, things like that. People call you out, lots of negative comments. So, yeah. Who is next to me? Who's next to me is Pumi and Melon, actually, because I'm using it. Yeah, so I'm not sure who to pass it to.
We can pass it to someone.
Yeah, we'll pass it to.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're passing this to Dimuthu.
Hi everyone, I'm Dimuthu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still study and I hate this. I hate the internet. Once I addict to phone, and I love internet. I can see. I can watch memes. Sorry about my English.
You can
speak in
Sinhala, no problem.
සිංහලෙන් කතා කරත් කමන්නේ. ඕන yeah. ඔයාට comfortable භාෂාවෙන් කතා කරන්න.
Give it to
අතර සිංහලෙන් කතා කරත් හොඳයි. මේ ඒතර අපිට මේ ඒ කියන්නේ හැමෝටම මේ අපි අපේ කොහොමද ඒ කියන්නේ plan එක ඔක්කොමලට නිකන් දේශයෙන් ඩිස්කස් කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට මේක ඉස්සරහට ගෙනියන්නේ. ඒ හින්දා මේ කිසිම අවුලක් නැහැ. ඔයාලට දේශී භාෂාවෙන් කතා කරන්න.
මේක දෙන්නම්. Abdullah.
Yeah, can you guys see me? I think I'm frozen.
We can. You're frozen,
okay.
But that.
Yeah, just pretend I'm talking. Yeah, hi, I'm Abdullah. I'm from St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, and I like the internet because it's a great distraction to the world around me. It takes me somewhere else, and it's nice. But once I get into that world, it's hard to get out, and because of that, I'm somewhat addicted to it, and that's why I hate it. So yeah, I like it and hate it because of the same reason. And I'm going to pass it to Janit Dasanayaka.
Thanks, Abdullah. Hi, I'm Janit. I'm a student at St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia. I love the internet because you can essentially, it has all the answers I need or maybe want, because I didn't know the search engine of Google was so complicated before, but like I had to type it in and then I was like, oh God, this is so complicated. But what I do hate is the fact that sometimes it doesn't have the answers. So I'm stuck with myself and trying to figure out, okay, how do I do something? So that's really what I hate. But other than that, I think it's a good place where you essentially can use your freedom of speech. And I'll pass it down to Tasha De Silva.
Thank you. Yeah, so I am Tasha and I'm currently schooling. And something I like about the internet is that I can watch whatever, because I love TV series and movies, and I get like addicted pretty fast. Again, I like the escapism that like the internet gives. I do not like the fact that there are standards and like that you have to be confined into a box. In some, like you can like it's you. I don't know how to explain it really well, but like it gives you the freedom to be out of the box, but in the box, which is something that I don't like. Who do I pass it to? I have the same problem that Aksa has.
You can pass it to Gaindu.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Gaindu. මම ඉගෙන ගන්නවා තාම. මම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකට කැමති. ඒක මගේ Zoom class වලට ඉගෙන ගන්න වැඩවලට ගොඩක් උදව් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මම මේකට කැමති නැත්තේ ගොඩක් අය ඒක ගොඩක් අය ඒක නරක විදිහට පාවිච්චි කරනවා.
Thanks,
okay, I will pass it. Hit me.
Yeah, thanks. I'm sorry my camera's off because it's raining really bad here. So hi, I'm Kitmi. I'm still in school. One thing that I love about the internet is all the amazing music that you can get on it. But one thing about it is how much I fight with my mom because of it. Yeah. So I'm gonna pass it to Sala De Silva.
Hi everyone, my name is Sadla. I'm currently schooling at Methodist College, and one thing I love about the internet is probably the connecting with my friends and family, because at this point I really miss them and all, so it's really fun. And one thing that I dislike about the internet is probably the miscommunication, mostly over text, because like when you send a text, like when you're being sarcastic or something, it's taken in a very way. But yeah, thank you.
Who do you want to pass it to, Sala?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. I am going to pass it to Vishmi. Vishmi?
Vishmi, අපි වැහෙනවද?
Vishmi or mute කරන්න.
Yeah, I don't think we can.
I think she might have connection trouble.
Yeah.
Shall
we pass
it?
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Vishmi, ඇහෙනවද අපිව?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Hi everyone, I'm Vishmi. I'm live in Bandarwala. I love internet, but one thing how I don't like. I don't know what that. Internet is help to study good things also, but wrong thing has the internet. Yeah, that's all.
Vishmi, you can also tell us in Sinhala if you want. ඔයාට කැමති නම් සිංහලෙන් කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. Can you hear us, Vishmi? I think there's a small connection.
Yeah, I think Vishmi is having a small connection problem. Yeah, so we'll pass the pen to Imad.
Oh, hello, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so my name is Imad and I go to Wesley doing my A-levels currently in math stream. So the thing I like most about the internet is the fact that you get to meet a lot of different people, and that there's a community for almost any kind of niche that you can think of. And the fact that this kind of community transcends countries and borders and different languages is something that I really appreciate. But the thing that I don't like is the fact that it gets very addictive and often starts to interfere in your day-to-day activities and even your studies. When you sit down to study for like 1 hour and you end up using YouTube for 3 more hours, that then it becomes a big problem. That's what I don't like. Well, I forgot I had to pass it to someone. So I'll pass this pen to Nathan.
Hello everyone, I'm Nathan. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, hello everyone, I'm Nathan from Wesley College. The thing I like internet is because I learned a lot from internet, and you can learn anything you want from internet. So and I hate internet is because sometimes it shows unwanted ads and asking unwanted information. Then that is the reason. And I would like to pass this to Dunit.
Dunit already got it, I think.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Vidyut.
Hello everyone, my name is Vidyut and I'm 13 years old. And the thing I love about the internet is I watch YouTube, and mostly I watch like animation videos and like music trending stuffs and all. And the thing which I don't like is when I watch like videos and stuff, it gets spammed with lots of ads and stuff. So yeah, but the internet helped me a lot during this period. So yeah, I appreciate it.
You can pass it to someone.
I'm passing to Sandeep.
Sandeep.
Hi guys, I'm Sandeep. You can also call me Sandy, which is what most of my friends call me. So yeah, the internet. Well, my favorite reason, as in a good reason, would be the fact that I can communicate with my friends, because I feel like if I lose my friends, I kind of like decline mentally. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons I would use the internet for. But a negative reason would be if I started using the internet regularly, which I am, and suddenly, let's say something happens and I lose the internet, I'm not able to like communicate with anyone, then I feel like I've lost a part of me, because it has been, I've been using it so much that when I lose it, it's a big impact. So that's the negative side.
Thanks, Sandra.
Yeah, I had to pass it to. Did everyone speak, or am I missing someone?
As Tushant hasn't spoken.
Tushant, yeah.
Indika hasn't spoken.
Yeah.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Dishan from Betiklo, Sri Lanka. I'm now studying 12th in my school, Betiklo Methodist Central College. And I like about internet is also my background crafts, and I send some mail photos, craft ideas I learned in an internet. And I dislike about an internet is fake news, hate speech, something. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Sushant.
Who will you share with, Sushant? Okay, so
Shavindri? Yeah, we
Shavindri.
haven't heard from Shavindri.
Hi guys,
Shavi.
my name is Shavindri, but y'all can call me Shavi because Shavindri is like a mouthful. Something I really like about the internet is that it limits like your circle, so like you don't have to make small talk with a lot of people, because like I get really anxious when I'm in a big crowd, and that like really there's a lot of pressure. Something I hate about the internet is that it's quite addicting. So you're like only 5 more minutes, and then it's like before you know it, like 2 hours have gone by, and like you waste a lot of time on it. And I'll pass it to Yusuf. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
My name is Yusuf, as you all heard, So I go to Wesley, and what I like about the internet is that you could do a lot of stuff, and those stuff there's no limit of the stuff you could do, actually, to be honest. So like most of the stuff I do is online streaming games and stuff. Have a YouTube channel. I play games and stuff online, and watch videos. So it has a lot of users, and in the same manner there are there's an amount of bad stuff also in YouTube and internet also. So I can tell that one of it is you get glued to it when you just use it for like maybe a few seconds. You be like, this looks cool, let's check it out, and then you just keep on checking the whole YouTube, and then all the time's gone. You have nothing else to do. The day is also over. So that's one reason I don't like it. I can't get out of it.
We can relate.
Yeah.
I pass.
Yeah.
Pass it to
Nimansa hasn't
Indika.
gone. Indika. Indika has.
Hello guys, this is my mom's computer, so my real name is Anuj, but my mom's name is Indika Perez, that's why the name has been confused. So I study in Wesley College, and what I like about the internet is that I can watch YouTube videos and Netflix, which I like to do it all the time. And what I don't like about the internet is that it can get too addictive, and sometimes they post unwanted videos, spams and all, like some ads. So that's why I don't I like the internet that much. But yeah, I like to watch Netflix videos. So yeah.
Okay, I think we have one more person.
We have Nimansa.
Nimansa?
Okay, so hi everyone. So I'm Nimansa, and okay, so one thing I like about the internet is probably how you can stay like connected with like friends and family. And yeah, one thing I dislike about it is probably how addicted I can get to it, and it's not good. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna pass it
yes.
to
Your sister.
Sahansa.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Sahansa, and I go to AIS, and I'm in grade 13. And one thing I like about the internet is the fact that you get to chat with your friends, especially during this time. Without the internet, we wouldn't be able to connect with our friends and family. And one thing I dislike about the internet is probably the fact that it's very addictive. And when you go to do something else, your phone or your computer distracts you, and it can get annoying at times. So yeah. I'm not sure who to pass it to.
I think Janet. Did Janet introduce himself? Janet?
I think Janet
Yeah.
did. Yeah, Janet did.
You introduced yourself, right?
Yeah. I think we covered everyone. Did we miss anyone?
Yeah, did we miss
Don't think
anyone?
so.
If you missed anyone, please introduce yourself now.
I think we covered it.
I think we covered everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's great stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's
all
great
very
stuff.
relatable.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
trust me guys, like we are going through exactly what you guys are going through as well, right?
Yeah,
And, it's
supposedly adults. But
yeah, we are supposedly right adults, but we're still going through the same stuff you guys are going through, right? So the idea here is we'll try to figure this out together, right? Let's try and find some ways we can deal with some of these issues. But what I really liked about most of your feedback is that there are like good things and bad things, right? And it's neither one of these, like the internet and technology is neither one of these things in isolation, right? It's both of these things. It comes as a package, whether we like it or not, the good things and the bad things. Like I think one of you told us about how it's really helpful right now during this time because we're all locked up in our homes, and this is really great to keep in touch with your friends. But at the same time, almost all of you talked about addiction and how, we are stuck with this. So there's the good, there's the bad, and hopefully we'll try and figure out a way where we can balance those two things, right? Try and kind of not balance, actually try to reduce the bad as much as possible and try to take the good out of it as much as possible, right? So it's not that's basically the goal that we want to kind of achieve through this, and not just amongst yourselves, but amongst your friends, amongst society, and start talking about these problems. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break, right? And we're going to take about a 10-minute break, so all of you can take a break from the Zoom call. But what we want you to do is quickly answer a couple of questions in a questionnaire. Right, so this questionnaire, like we said, it's just what we want us all to do is to try to do some research together, right? We want all of you to be the researchers, right? So what we're going to do is eventually you all will get to design these questionnaires as well and ask your friends and your family about different things about digital well-being. So I think all of you are aware of the word digital well-being at this point. It's about our so we know about physical well-being, we know about mental health well-being, right? Digital well-being is about both those things when it comes to digital technology, right? How do we preserve our mental and physical well-being when it comes to all this new crazy technology that we have, right? So I'm going to give this questionnaire in the chat, right? And if it'll take you 2 minutes. It's a very quick questionnaire, just 5 questions, and it's all MCQ style questions. I'll quickly run through the questionnaire so that all of you are clear about it. So I'm going to share my screen very quickly. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So there's just 5 questions. First, you need to just give us your name.
Excuse me.
Yes.
It's not really clear, please. So it's not clear.
The screen is not clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me reshare my screen.
Maybe zoom in.
Okay, I'll zoom. Is this better?
Yeah, zoom in a bit.
Is that better?
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So this is the first questionnaire, and basically you start with just giving your name, right? So just put your first name and your last name, no need initials or anything, right? So if it's Malin, I'm Malin Jayasuriya, just put the name in there. And basically the first question will be, how concerned are you about digital well-being, right? And there's just 3 possibilities. You can pick that. Next is, how concerned are your parents about digital well-being? And you can quickly answer that. And then, how often do you and your friends discuss these issues, like addiction and all this kind of stuff, right? And then basically kind of what we talked about now, like, what do you think? Has digital technology been mostly good for society, or right for society, or really terrible for society, right? And we have several questions like this. The final question is basically what you expect from this workshop. Just 3 very short answers, right? And you can answer in any language, English, Sinhala, or Tamil. Just give us 3 kind of quick sentences about what you expect to get from this workshop, right? So I'm going to share this with you guys now on the chat. And you all can take a quick 10-minute break, and we'll start again at 7 o'clock. So it's 6:50 now.
You can stay on the meeting.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Don't leave. You don't have to leave the meeting. You can just maybe switch off your video and take a quick break, and quickly answer this. It will take about 2-3 minutes.
And also, when you come back, just in general for this, because like we said, it's a research project and we are doing it together. And as we go, we'll be learning a lot of things together. We can and research so it will be good kids to have a notebook. So if something comes up that you want to research on further, you can just note it down. Or if you remember in the midweek, something interesting happens, you can note it down to share with the group, or even a creative idea. So if you can keep a notebook, that will be great. And maybe you can even bring it back when you come from the break.
Yeah, I just want to also remind everyone what Piyumi said about giving an honest answer. Like, it's not about coming across as being like really impressive and super aware about everything. Because if we don't get, like, if we treat you as a cross section, like, the data that we get from you guys is really important. So if we find out that on average you guys really are, quite concerned, that's important. But if you're trying to present a particular, like, an artificial response, we won't really get the true picture. And that's what's
Mm.
most important.
Definitely. And as we go, we'll also teach you a bit more about research as well, and then you'll learn about this. But yeah, be honest. Nobody's going to judge
Yeah,
you.
no one's going to judge
Nobody's
you.
going to
Also,
judge
no
you.
one's going to
Read your
yeah,
answers.
no one's going to read your answers, and we're not going to share it with anyone else, right? So this will be mostly for ourselves, right? You as well as us, right? So I have shared the link to everyone. Sanjit, you had shared a link as well.
No, I reshared the same thing because I think one person had left for a brief moment and then re-entered the call.
Oh, right. Okay,
So
no
just
worries.
in
All
case
good.
they didn't get it, yeah.
So we can take a quick 10-minute break. We'll see you back at 7 o'clock. Okay, and just yeah, come back and we'll continue.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Gaindu. Sorry. Gaindu. Yeah.
මේ chat box දාලා තියෙන link එක මේ දානවද
Oh.
WhatsApp එකත්?
WhatsApp group. Hari WhatsApp group.
Hi everyone. There's a small mistake in one of the questions. In the Sinhala translation, Pumi will fix that now. In the question, how often do you discuss with friends about social media? The Sinhala word for somewhat and often is the same. So we'll fix that very quickly, but I hope all of you understand that the middle answer means sometimes, the first answer is often. So Pumi will correct that very quickly. Thanks, Imad, for letting us know. If there's any other mistakes here and there, please let us know. Hi, everyone. So we'll start now. Again, hopefully, can everyone hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
so what we're going to do now is we're going to discuss about the different issues around digital well-being that we think are important, right? So in the Reconnect Us project, what we want to do is we want to make videos about four issues that we think kind of stand out when we talk about digital well-being. So one is privacy, right? And I think everyone needs to be aware of privacy and start talking about privacy. Second, it's we're going to talk about cyberbullying, which is something that maybe some of you have experienced. Then we want to talk thirdly about basically about misinformation and basically wrong news that's being spread around in social media. And finally, we want to talk about addiction. And I think everyone here flagged the problem of addiction. So it's good that if we can talk about this in more details, right? So let's first talk about privacy. Right, and we're going to basically get your ideas about this problem as well. And so please feel free to be as interactive as you can. And you can also reply and talk to us in any language, okay? Language question. So please talk to us in whatever you're comfortable with. All right, so the first question we want to talk about is privacy, right? So what is privacy? Can any of you tell us? And what are your ideas around privacy? By the way, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Can I tell the answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Privacy is actually the information which you which basically belongs to only you.
Yes, that's a really good answer. Anyone else? You all have any ideas about privacy? Only information belonging to you. Information belonging to you. Any other ideas?
Kind of adding to that, it's the ability to have complete control over whatever you publish on the internet.
Control over what you share. Anything else? These are really great answers, guys.
අනිත් කට්ටිය අපි ගැන දැනගන්න ඕනි ටික විතරක් කියන්න.
ඒ කියන්නේ අපි ගැන දැනගන්න ඕන ටික විතරක් දැනගන්න ඕන තොරතුරු. Yes.
privacy කියන්නේ තමන්ට විතරක් දැනගන්න ඕන තොරතුරු.
මම හිතන්නේ මේ දිමුත ඒක cover කරා. Right? So these are all good points, right? So privacy, as all of you said, is basically like information about ourselves that we should have control over who we share it with, right, Nisha? So, for example, let's say in your classroom, right? Let's take your classroom. Let's say this is you, right? This is you, and usually, actually, so imagine this is you, right? Okay, and usually we have our closest friends, right? We have our best friends that we always talk to, that we share information with, right? And we share secrets with. And then we have people outside of that circle, right? That we share a few things, but we don't share our deepest, darkest secrets, right? We just tell them about a few things that happen in our lives, but we don't tell them our deepest, darkest secrets, right? And then everyone outside of these two circles are usually people we don't really talk to at all, right? Like we don't share all our information with, right?
They're kind of like strangers that you just meet.
Yeah, even in your exactly. So even in your class, right? I don't know the size of your classes. If there's like 20, 30 people in your class, there'll be that really close friends of yours, right? And then there'll be the people around there, and then there are people who you don't really share anything with, right? And this is what we do in day-to-day life, right? Like we decide who we share our information, and that's the core of privacy and what exactly you guys talked about. It's like අපි ගැන දැනගන්න ඕන ටික who do we share it with, and we have this sense of control, and that's what really what privacy is. And so there are two important words here, right? Like one is control. You guys already talked about it. We get to control who we share that information. And what is that control based on? Like, how do we decide who we share it with and who we don't share it with? It's basically trust, right? Right? This control is based off of trust, right? So your best friends, you trust very well, right? And because of that, you're comfortable sharing anything with them, right? Most of what you have with them, right? And day to day, in regular life, we have this sense of privacy, right? We get to decide who we share things with and who we trust. And the reason for this is because if we share it with everybody, with strangers, they can make use of it, right? They can exploit it and they can harm you, right? So that's why privacy is important, right? So privacy is basically a control we have about the information about ourselves, and it's based on trust, right? And and that trust helps us decide who we share things and who we don't share, right? So day to day we have this privacy, right? You don't go around and talk about all your deepest, darkest secrets with everyone, right? Okay. Next question I would like to ask is, why is the internet bad for privacy, right? Why is the internet bad for privacy? Any ideas, guys?
Because we don't know who is looking at.
Exactly, right? So in real life, we get to decide who we share information with, right? But in the internet, they could be complete strangers, right? So, I mean, like in normal day-to-day, we share it with our friends, right? But this is like, imagine you're walking on the road and telling everyone what you ate in the morning, like telling everyone what you did yesterday, right? It's weird, right? But we all do this without even thinking about it, right? And that brings us to the second problem. It's because these social media companies want us to share the information, right? So companies like Facebook, Instagram, they want us to keep sharing because that's how they make money, right? They use our data and they make money, right? So we don't even think about it. We keep sharing because these social media companies are using us to make money, right? And it's very weird, right? Like we don't do this in normal life, but suddenly when it's the internet, we share everything, like our breakfast, we share pictures of our faces, right? Like it's really strange.
On that, Malin, so I just want to ask everyone, do you guys ever go out there and share just random stuff with strangers on the road? Like, hey, check out what I ate for breakfast today. Do you guys do that? I'm just curious. No, right? Can we see a show of hands if anyone does that? Sanjit?
Yeah, I don't know about Sanjit.
I don't know about Sanjit though. Sanjit might do that.
I intermittent fast, so I don't eat breakfast.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. So yeah,
Okay,
it is weird, right? But so driving to the point where Malin was like, why is it okay to do on the internet? Like, how is it okay? So just something to think about, I suppose.
Yeah. So the other thing that is bad about basically another reason why the internet is bad for privacy is also it's easy to lie on the internet, right? It's easy to lie, right? You can create fake accounts, create fake news. It's very, very easy to lie, right? And the other issue is connected to social media companies. You don't have control, right? Like once you give this information out to these companies and put it on the internet, you don't have control over what's there, right? So it comes back to this idea of control. All of you have talked about this idea of control. All of you talked about this idea of trust, right? But none of those things exist in the internet. You can't trust anyone because they can lie. You can't trust anyone because they're strangers, right? And you can't trust these social media companies because they are there to make money, right? And they don't provide you with that level of control. So the really scary thing is, right, there are also predators on the internet, right? People who want to exploit you, right? In all sorts of horrible ways, right? And another reason why the internet can be bad for you, it's also that all the information. Yeah, sorry.
It affects your life in a negative way.
Yes, so all of this leads to affecting your life in a negative way. Absolutely correct, right? So all of these things, like another aspect of why affects your life negatively is once you put the information, it's almost permanent, right? So once you post something on the internet, it's really hard to take it back, right? It will live on the internet for the rest of your life, right? So imagine a stupid mistake you made living for the rest of your life, right? You can't erase it. And that's the problem why the internet is bad for privacy. So we'll discuss this in more detail in the next couple of workshops, but this is a basic introduction to the topic of privacy. Okay, so now we'll hand it over to Kumi to talk about cyberbullying. Can you see the screen?
Can you see the screen, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Visible.
මම පොඩි අදහසක් කියන්න කැමති මේ WhatsApp එකේ message එකක් දාලා තිබ්බා group එකකට ඔයාලගේ WhatsApp කියන්නේ අර privacy policies update කරානේ privacy policies update කරාට පස්සේ ඔයාලගේ මේ information යනවා එහෙමයි කියලා audio file එකක් දාලා තිබ්බා මේ කට්ටියට දැනුම් දෙන්න ඊට පස්සේ ඒකට reply එකක් දාලා තිබ්බා මම කියවන්න හැබැයි මෙහෙම එකක් තියෙනවා කොළඹ හසයට නුවර පොළොවයට කිකිය පැවිසි අතරම Facebook story දාන free data දෙනවා කිව්වොත් මොන මගුලක් වුණත් කරන දවසකට 3-4 වතාවක් filters දාලා තියෙන හැම එකක්ම කරලා profile pictures මාරු කරන අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කියවෙනවා WhatsApp hack කරලා අපේ privacy policies හොරකම් කරනවා නේද අනික WhatsApp අපිට free දෙන්නේ යාලා Facebook එක කරනවා ඒකට ඇඩ් දාන්න ඕන කරන දේවල් එයාලට data විදිහට ඕන වෙනවා. එයාලට Google එකත් එක්ක ඒ data හොමාරු කරගන්න. එහෙම තමයි එයාලා සල්ලි හම්බ කරන්නේ. අනික WhatsApp වලින් message end to end encrypt කරනවා. ඒ නිසා WhatsApp එකට වත් බෑ අපිට යවන දේවල් මොනවද කියලා පාවිච්චි දැනගන්න. GB WhatsApp mod app පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැත්නම් විතරක්. එයාලා privacy policies update කරන්නේ අපි online වෙන වෙලාවට මොනවද කරන්න කියලා data එකතු කරගන්න. එච්චර.
Thank you.
ඔයා ඔය කියපු එක අපේ workshop එකේ end එකට connect කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද අපි ඊළඟ දවසේ කතා කරන්නේ privacy ගැන. And we have a small activity for you. So I think that's really important. Really good. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm moving to something that's also connected to privacy, guys. Cyberbullying. So what have you guys So what have you guys heard of cyberbullying? Do you know of cyberbullying? Have you been cyberbullied or are you a cyberbully? So so just to cover that, anybody want to tell me what they know about cyberbullying?
Cyberbullying is a closer activity to hacking.
Could be hacking, yes. That could be a form.
It's like an organization which annoys you.
Annoying you. These are all good.
It's directly when somebody or some group of people directly attack your identity. So anything they do to harm who you are, that would be considered cyberbullying.
Yeah. Anything else?
Using it to humiliate you, possibly?
Yes, definitely. So basically, these are all. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I have a little story. So towards like the beginning of lockdown, I made a couple of online friends, and we used to like chat in like groups and stuff like that. And we became quite close over the internet. And then the thing with these like groups is like none of them knew each other, but then they kind of like told each other that like they were like really close to each other and like you're like my best friend or whatever. And there's this thing that they used to do, like if anyone sort of like, say this one girl, she once said, this girl, she said this to me today, and then the whole group would just go to that girl's page and then spam like hate comments on her posts and stuff like that, and then would like reshare her stories on their stories and say, look at this, like, can you believe it? Yeah, it was horrible. And yeah, I left because of that. But I mean, how can you be so hateful to people that you do absolutely know nothing about? It's I don't know, it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, that's horrible. And how it can happen is like all of this, everything you said are different kinds of like forms of cyberbullying. So the difference of cyberbullying is it's basically bullying, but through digital devices. So with digital devices, what happens is you get anonymity. So that's like the key to like the power to a digital bully is anonymity. So nirnamika, we don't know who's behind the faces. We don't know, like you said, like your friends, like it's very easy to like bully someone, say something to them when you don't know like who's behind the screen saying it. And another thing about it is like, say in traditional bullying, like there's like you might need a balance. For example, the person bullying you might need to have some power over you. Like if they could be physically, say skole api, like I don't know, gang. If you take the bully gang, like they might have to be like physically overpowering. They might have to be big seniors or even intimidating. But when it comes to digital bullying, it can just be anybody. It can be you, me. It can be someone really young, someone really old. Because all you need to cyberbully someone is the internet, right? And like all your examples said, it has some horrible mental, like it can have mental, psychological, and even physical effects in the long term. If you can go into depression and even like, create self-harm, and which takes us to like what platforms you can do it to. So like Kitni said, it can be like just a chatting platform. It can be Facebook, social media. It can even be a gaming platform. It can be anything, or even just a mobile phone, to be honest. So like this can happen in any digital platform. And which brings me to the, yes, Imad.
Imad, and I think Tushant also raised.
Yes, Imad, Tushant, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a question. So
yeah.
Oh, never mind. Tushant, yeah.
Yeah, for Tushant, you go first.
Okay, thank you. Anomathy means Tamil meaning.
Anonymity.
In Tamil, yeah.
Anamati.
That means so that
you don't know who the person is.
So it can be anybody. Like, so we don't know who's bullying you. Like, so anonymous is, say somebody writes something anonymously. If we nirnamikavali, if we are writing something anonymously, that means we are not telling our name or identity. Aksa, could you help out with a translation over here? Just a simple clarification for Tushant.
Yeah, அது வந்துண்டா பேர் சொல்லாம லைக் ஆட்கள் வந்து தெரியாத ஆட்கள் சில நேரம் இருப்பாங்க சரியா. ஸோ லைக் அவங்க எதுவும் ஹேட் கமெண்ட் சொன்னா, கூடாம பேசினா, ஸோ ஆட்களை தெரியாது தானே. ஸோ லைக் அதை வச்சுக்கொண்டு உங்களை புலி பண்ணுது. ஸோ yeah, that's basically what an anonymity is. Hope you understood. My Tamil is not great, but yeah.
Thanks, Aksa.
Thank you, Aksa.
Imad, you had something.
I'm clear.
Yeah, so can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question was, I have a question about where exactly trolling lies on it. Is it a subset of cyberbullying, or is it separate, or is it something that kind of overlaps with cyberbullying and it's not necessarily part of it?
That's actually a really good question, because that was also where we were going to next. So the forms of cyberbullying. So something that's something about cyberbullying is also, it's very subtle and sometimes hard to define. So now Imad asked about trolling. So trolling, I would say, is kind of a subset, but again, it also depends on context when it comes to cyberbullying. So when you come to like defining cyberbullying, what we would say is generally, is it making someone very uncomfortable? Is it targeted? Is it making someone unhappy? Is it with or without consent? Would be like a good outline to kind of frame whether it's cyberbullying or not. So this is also good for us, because sometimes we might direct something online as a joke to a friend, but if you keep going at it, but the other person is uncomfortable, and you might get this as well, where they're like, it's just a joke, like learn to take a joke. But then where we draw the line is where the other person is at emotionally when they're dealing with it. So some of you already shared some forms of cyberbullying. So these could be things like outing, hate speech, cyber stalking. So trolling at a certain level could come inside it, blackmail, trickery, exclusion. So we'll talk a lot in detail about all of this, also taking into account your experiences with this and trying to bring a bigger, broader definition to all of this when we have our chat next time. Just to like kind of give a sense of that, and then we are moving on to how to avoid it. So the 3 key steps to avoiding, I would say, would be preventing. So for preventing also, again, you can go back to the privacy settings, and these 2 we'll be talking about in detail on our session on cyberbullying. We can prevent cyberbullying by working on our privacy settings, or not reacting to it, or like finding ways to report, that is reporting to someone who's an adult or someone we trust, and then rethinking. So rethinking, I wanted to bring this rethinking because, again, like I said, even we could unknowingly be bullying someone or making someone uncomfortable. So something interesting I want to end with is an app that a teenager like you guys created to battle this. So this is a Indian American called Trisha Prabhu. She was a 17-year-old, and she came up with this app called Rethink. So if you guys can actually download it or even read about it, it's very interesting because she created the app to prevent cyberbullying even before it happens. So it's a simple app you put on your phone and say it just detects words or things that seem offensive. And it say you, for example, if you are typing something, if it seems offensive, they send a message saying, rethink, are you sure you want to send this? And they found that most times that kids take time to rethink this, they actually do like stop like to rethink and put something else, because what happens on the internet, like we talked about, is we are constantly putting information out there, right? So another thing that we really need to rethink is to take a second and rethink the content that we put out there. So I thought this would be something inspiring to let you guys know, because this is just a 17-year-old just like you guys coming up with a solution which is now used worldwide. And on that note, I'm going to pass on to Sanjit, who's going to take you through misinformation.
Thanks, Pimi.
Thanks. Thank you, Pimi. I've stuck with the old-fashioned PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so I am going to talk about misinformation. Can you see my screen? Is it, sorry.
Yeah, I'm having trouble seeing your screen. It just says Sanjit. Is everyone else seeing Sanjit's screen?
I can see the screen.
Sorry.
Sanjit, can you cancel and start again?
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Let's try that again. Any luck?
Yeah, now we can see.
Fantastic. Okay. So I'm just going to put this on PowerPoint, one slide. There we go, slideshow. Okay, so misinformation, or I mean, the Sinhala term used is Vadadi Toroturu, right? It's not given a particularly fancy name. Is defined as false information that is spread regardless of intent to mislead. There is also a term called disinformation, although in Sinhala the 2 terms aren't, there is no separate term for it. Sinhalin dekatama kiyanne වැරදි තොරතුරු කියලා. But That's defined as deliberately misleading or biased information or manipulated narrative of facts or propaganda, right? So that's where someone is deliberately putting false information out there. Can it චේතාන් විතව නැත්නම් ඕනකමින් බොරු තොරතුරක් වැරදි තොරතුරක් බෙදා හරිනවා නම් ඒකට තමයි අපි disinformation කියලා කියන්නේ. So if you're a Venn diagram fan, at the intersection of intent to mislead and false information, you will find disinformation. Okay, so for the purposes of what we are going to do, this intent to mislead is not so important, right? Because what's important is if you know how to spot false information, it doesn't matter if it's being shared deliberately. Okay, sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. So I'm Sanjit. I studied economics at Colombo University, and I'm now working as an analyst. Okay, so what I wanted to do very quickly is to move into breaking down the different types of information, misinformation, right? So the first one is what I call partial information, right? So the content shared is true, but it only shows a part of the whole story. ඒ කියන්නේ සම්පූර්ණ කතාවෙන් නැත්නම් සම්පූර්ණ තොරතුරෙන් පංගුවක් විතරයි බෙදා හරින්නේ. හැබැයි මග හරින පංගුවේ මගහන් ඉදෙන පංගුව ගොඩක් විදියට බලපානවා ඒ සම්පූර්ණ තොරතුරට ප්‍රතිචාර දෙන විදියට. හරි? So that second part is crucial to how you engage with the story. But that part is left out. So for example, let's say one of your students comes and tells you, like your friends comes and tells you, you know, there's this teacher who's been missing from school for, like the maths teacher has been missing for 3 months. Now that makes you think, okay, this is very irresponsible. But the part they leave out is that she's left or she's been absent because she's been having a baby, right? And so she's gone on maternity leave. Now that bit of information completely changes how you engage with that story, right? Or for example, someone might come and say, you know, my friend who struggled in his O-level class is now 3rd in his logic class in A-levels. And that sounds really good, right? Until you find out there are only 3 people in the logic class, right? So he's 3rd out of 3. Okay, so can you suggest any examples of like misinformation on this like partial information? Can you think of examples where people tell you only a part of the truth and that affects how you see things? Any examples you've come across? Okay, no suggestions, so I'm going to move on, right? But you can think about. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Dunit. Oh, has he said something in the chat? Yeah, Dunit, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, for instance, like when you're quoting things that politicians or like public figures say, usually like cherry pick parts of like what they said for the benefit of your own story.
Yeah. Okay. So that's very good, right? That's a good example. So for example, why did I mute myself? Okay. Yeah. So sometimes the media will report like part of the truth or part of some big speech, which changes the context. Okay. So that's a good one, right? Okay. The second
also, there's a chat message also on the from Dimitri.
Okay. Could you read that out to me? In this screen share, and I don't want to.
No, I think what he has said is how like changing sentence structure can mess things up. Like he has given the example of Maranna in full stop, Epa, Beran. And then comparing that with Maranna, Epa, full stop there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so that's also a good example.
Okay, so the second one is what I call distorted information, right? So again, the information is based on truth, but it's twisted or exaggerated in some way. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ බෙදා හරින තොරතුර ඒ කියන්නේ සත්‍ය කාරණා මත තමයි පදනම් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි සත්‍ය කරුණ විකෘති කරනවා යම්කිසි විදියක. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර වෙලාවට අපි කියන්නේ 1 2 කරලා කියනවා කියලා. නේ ඒ වගේ අවස්ථාවක් තමයි මේ distorted information කියලා කියන්නේ. So for example, you know, someone might say, you know, X in your class has like 3 girlfriends or 3 boyfriends, and this might be because, you know, they are maybe they message or they're really popular and they're texting a lot of people. And that might be true, but to say that they actually have like 3 girlfriends or 3 boyfriends, that's a distortion, right? And that's misinformation. Or for example, let's say someone else, a sportsman, you know, has put on a bit of muscle, right? He has some gains. And then people are like, and people will say, you know, he's definitely using supplements. Now it's true that he's got totally swole or jacked or whatever it is since the last time you saw him. But you might be exaggerating it or spreading misinformation when you say that he's been taking some steroids or supplements, right? So any suggestions for this kind of thing where you distort information that is true and make it something else?
So I have
Iman?
So I have kind of a question regarding this really. So the news coverage regarding the MCC agreement that was kind of trending, I think last year, would you classify that as partial information or distorted information?
I'm sure it had elements of both, right? So it would depend on what the specific claim was. But yeah, again, like remember, these lines aren't all like perfectly clear. So sometimes there are like, sometimes sometimes it's partial information, sometimes it's distortion, sometimes there's a bit of both. But it's good to try to break it down so you understand why something is exactly like misinformation, right? Okay, so let's move on, right? The third one is what I call, what are known as conspiracy theories, right? So here you take several pieces of information that are true, but you link it in a way that is misleading. කියන්නේ සත්‍ය කරුණු දෙක තුනක් කරගෙන නොමග යන විදියකට ඒවා සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න. ඉතින් ඒකත් මේ තරමන් දුරට සත්‍යයක් මත තමයි පදනම් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි ඒ කරුණු අතර සම්බන්ධයක් ගොඩ නගන්න හදද්දී නොමග යැවීමක් සිදු වෙනවා. I don't know if you can think of any conspiracy theories that you've heard.
Ravana.
Any popular conspiracy? Sorry?
Ravana.
So the Ravana one, yeah. So that's a bit of myth
Ravana.
as well, right? It's what we call the myth, yeah. Any other suggestions?
Yeah, so I have 2.
Yeah.
So the first one is like this conspiracy regarding Mark Zuckerberg and all these other billionaires in the US, where you say that the lizard people over there, part of this elite cabal that has very strange ulterior motives. And the second one was actually kind of famous thing that happened during the Cold War. I can't remember the exact disease, but the Russians tried to frame it as the Americans who leaked the biological virus. Wait, you could even apply it to the COVID thing, where the conspiracy theory saying that the Chinese government leaked the COVID virus as an effort to like undermine the world or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So again, when you look at that, so there are some things, right? So, I mean, yes, there is a lab in China. Yes, it's government run. Yes, they do conduct research into this kind of thing. But to say there's some kind of deliberate thing is maybe misleading, right? We don't know. So that may be misleading. And I just want to say that with these conspiracy theories, sometimes the absence of verifiable information is presented as evidence that it's true.
Sanjit, there is a small request to translate that, just that part, and also there's another comment.
What about area?
So conspiracy theory, I don't think it's a, okay. So in Sinhala, the term is, it suggests kumantrana nyaya. I don't think that's a particularly good translation of it. මේ කියන්නේ යම් කිසි කතාවක් හදනවා, ඒක මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ යම් කිසි සත්‍ය කරුණු දෙක තුනක් එකට අරගෙන කතාවක් හදනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේ ඉමාද් කිව්වේ මේ චීනේ ලැබ් එකක් තිබ්බා කියලා. ඉතින් ඒක පදනම් කරගෙන මේ චීන රජය ඕනකමින්, ඒ කියන්නේ චේතාන්විතව මේ කොරෝනා වෛරස් එක මුදා හැරියා කියන එක, මේ කියන්නේ ලෝකයට එළියට දැම්මා කියන එක, ඒක මේ වගේ conspiracy theory එකක් වෙනවා. හරි? So I mean, I was lucky to get this NASA internship when I was in school, and so there are this very popular conspiracy theory that they joke about, is this moon landing, right? So they talk about how the moon landing was fake. That's another famous conspiracy. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm going to move on. The last one is outright falsehoods. Okay, so the name suggests it all. Sinhalen කියනවා නම් අමූලික බොරුවක්, right? There's no basis for anything that they're saying, but you might not know whether something is a complete lie or not. Okay, so some examples. What about the most outrageous lies you've given for not doing your homework? Or any other suggestions for outright falsehoods?
I think it's when I tell my teacher that my Wi-Fi isn't working.
Because that's a good one, because that's believable, right? Yeah, but it's completely false. Okay. Any other suggestions or something else that you've come across? Like, what's the most outrageous, like, falsehood you've heard someone try to get away with? Or most absurd one? One more, maybe? Okay, that's okay. Maybe people will warm up later on. Okay, so
I mean one.
Yeah.
But it isn't
Go
like
ahead.
directly related to digital well-being. Is that fine?
That's okay. Yeah.
So
But
the
make it quick,
excuse
yeah.
the US, so the excuse that the US used to invade Iraq, like they claim that they had weapons of mass destruction, but after their invasion, they didn't actually find it.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, to sum it up, I can't put it any better than Abraham Lincoln said, right? So he said, don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it. So that's very important. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about, I mean, I don't have time to get into all of this, right? But misinformation is very common on social media because of the culture around social media. So things go viral very quickly, and like sensational information that may be misinformation spreads very quickly. You're scrolling all the time. So sometimes you only see clickbait headlines and then that information stays with you. And memes are also a problem, but we can discuss that in detail later. Okay, so in conclusion, the most important thing is to sort of cultivate a healthy suspicion about the information that you get. Sometimes you get really trustworthy looking people telling you all kinds of things, but it's important to be suspicious about that, right? So just to come clean completely, I did study at the University of Colombo, but I didn't study economics. Some of you may know, I actually studied law. The NASA internship, that was a complete falsehood. That wasn't true. So the conclusion is to like learn to test everything, right? So some of you may have suspected that sounds pretty outrageous. It's probably not true. It wasn't true. Okay, thank you. And with that, I will hand it over to Malin.
Thanks, Sanjit. So the fourth issue we want to talk about is addiction. So this is something that I think all of you said that you are kind of dealing with. All right, so let me quickly share my screen. And yeah, so there's a saying, there's actually a quote, right? That the only two industries that call their customers users are illegal drugs and software, right? Basically like cocaine and marijuana, you know, like whenever we talk about the customers of drug trade, we refer to them as users. And it's the same when it comes to like Facebook users or Instagram users, right? So that gives you an idea of the kind of addiction problems that we're dealing with.
So, okay, Malin, I have a question. How do you, so we know that most of these, most of our participants, most of them know that, you know, they have certain tendencies to be addicted to social media. Now, for those who are like me, who would want to know, how do I know if I'm addicted to social media?
So this is a really tough question. Like, how do I know whether you're addicted, right? So most of you are kind of self-aware. Most of you said, yes, I have addiction problems, right? But if you are unsure, the best thing you can do is you should check your screen time, right? And you can do this on your phone, on your computer, right? Because we are really talking about digital addiction as a whole. So it's all the devices you use, whether you're gaming, your phone, your internet usage, right? So take a couple of days and actually try and either count the amount of hours you spend or something like that, and try to get a good measurement of whether you're addicted or not. And that's the best way you can kind of figure out whether you're addicted or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. So the next one. Okay. Is it really a bad thing that I spend a lot of time on my devices? I mean, I do a lot of productive stuff as well, but yeah, how is it bad that I spend so much time?
What do you guys think? Why is it why is it such a bad thing? Like, why do we say, okay, like, I'm addicted? What do you guys think? Any ideas?
Could you say that you kind of depend on it? Like there's this dependency cycle that you like, your happiness kind of depends on the satisfaction you get out of engaging on the internet, and that's not great.
Okay, yeah, that's actually.
I mean, that is important. And I mean, I personally feel like that can go both ways, right? Sometimes you can actually gain satisfaction by talking to your friends and stuff, right? So the point here is addiction is deeply rooted with habits, right? And habits aren't necessarily a bad thing, right? They can be good or they can be bad, right? What makes a habit an addiction is if it's causing problems, right? So just because you're talking to your friends on the internet and if it's not causing any problems, I wouldn't call that addiction, right? As if you're gaining some sort of satisfaction. The point where it becomes addiction is when it becomes a problem and you can't stop it, right? So it's a habit that becomes a problem, and you struggle with trying to stop it. And that's when you identify, okay, there's an addiction problem, right? So not everything is just like bad or good, right? So it's really complicated in that sense. So if you are actually talking to your friends and you need that time to socialize, especially right now during COVID times, the only outlet we have is digital media, right? So in that sense, digital media is actually helping us to keep in contact with our friends. But it becomes a problem if you're doing it 24/7. Right, and if that's all you're doing, and if you're glued to your screen, okay, Nishan.
Yeah,
so
okay.
maybe think about it before you spend your whole day gaming with your friends, right? So it's a bad thing only when it becomes a problem, and when you're wasting time, right? And when you're losing focus, right? And all of these other problematic things come about. That's when it becomes a bad thing, and you need to be aware of it.
Okay. So fine. All right, so are there any specific ways we get addicted to social media, or is it like, I mean, it can't be just our fault, right?
So is it our fault, right?
Yeah.
Well, the answer to this is kind of complicated, right? So it's a little bit of both. The thing is, all of us as people, we are habitual creatures, right? We are habitual creatures, right? Which means that we really like habits, right? So for example, we wake up every morning, we brush our teeth, right? Hopefully, I don't know about Nishan, but all of us hopefully brush our teeth. So we brush our teeth and we wake up in the morning, we have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or whatever. So we get into these habits, right? Because our brains like to go on autopilot, because it saves us time. We don't have to think about every decision that we make. So we suddenly go into these habits, right? And it's supposed to help us. But as I mentioned before, it can be problematic if those habits become problems and if you can't control those habits, right? So understanding how habits are formed is really important, right? So habits basically have 4 parts. There's a cue, right? There is a craving, there is a response, and a reward.
So right? Like every time I eat chocolate, or every time I eat ice cream when I'm stressed, is that something?
Yeah, so that's a perfect example. So Nishan has a huge addiction problem with ice cream, right? We all know this. All of our friends try to help him with this. But take ice cream addiction of Nishan, right? So usually there'll be a cue, something that triggers him, right? So usually, like let's say Nishan is having a bad day, right? That would be a cue for him to want ice cream. And that wanting, that real deep wanting, is the craving that follows that cue. So first he'll be sad, something bad will happen in his day, and that will be the cue. It will trigger him. And then there'll be this sudden craving and want for ice cream. And then the response will be, he'll go get that ice cream. And he will get some sort of reward because of that. Like the sugar and all that stuff will make him feel good, right? So this is basically how a habit is formed. And this can be good habits, bad habits, whatever, right? But this is basically the process that is,
Dimuthu has mentioned in the chat about dopamine.
Yes.
So yeah, perfect, I guess. Yeah.
So thanks, Emil. So what happens in our brains when we get this reward is there's a chemical release called dopamine, right? Which gets us feeling really good, right? Even if that activity might be bad for us, right? And this is exactly what happens with cocaine or all sorts of other drugs. And they've scientifically shown now that even when someone goes on Facebook, you get that hit of dopamine, right? So that's how habits are created, good habits and bad habits. Now, so you can't really say it's our fault, but at the same time, it kind of is. But this is a problem all of us deal with because we are human, right? So you have to be kind to yourself when you're trying to solve this problem. Now, the other really messed up thing is it's not just the fact that it's part of being human. These tech companies want us to be addicted. Right? So they design these platforms to get us addicted, right? So they hire like really, they spend millions of dollars. They hire like doctors and experts in like casinos to come and help them design these apps so that they can keep you addicted, because that's how they make money, right? And all these tech companies, how do you think Amazon, like Jeff Bezos, the richest person in the world, right? He's trying to get everyone addicted to shopping, right? And if you talk about Mark Zuckerberg, he gets everyone addicted to likes and sharing pictures and things like that, right? So that's how they make money. And the issue is we are here, like you guys are young, right? 14, 16. I mean, even us, we are like close to, I won't give up our age. But even we can't deal with this problem, right? Because we have this big company spending so much of money, putting so much of technology, trying to keep us addicted every day, right?
I think Dimuthu thinks you're 50. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, it's way more than 50, Dimuthu.
Yeah, thanks. I actually feel younger when you say I'm 50.
Yeah.
Okay, so some examples of how these companies do it, like think about what we call the infinite scroll. Now, if you go on YouTube or Facebook, you can keep scrolling, right? Keep scrolling, and it keeps showing you things to keep you there, right? Then think about your notifications. Your notifications suddenly have a really nice sound, right? And there's lights coming up, and that gets you addicted because our brains, are not mature enough to deal with this technology. Right? So we'll talk more about this addiction problem in a different workshop. So what we want to do is basically take these 4 issues that we talked about, right? So we talked about privacy, right? We talked about cyberbullying. We talked about misinformation and disinformation. And then we finally talked about addiction. So what we want to do is basically make 4 videos around these 4 topics, right? And we want to get your help to talk about these topics in more detail. So all we did today is just give you a very, very brief introduction, right? We only spent about 10 minutes on these topics, but I noticed all of you had so much to say, and we are really glad that, like you guys are interacting, telling us stories, like that's awesome. So what we'll do is we'll spend like one whole workshop on each of these issues. Right? And what we want to do is we want to get you guys to design some sort of video around each of these issues so that we can talk about these issues from your perspective to society, right?
Because I think at the very beginning also we had one participant, we had Kipti, who also talked about how our relationships with family, relationship with friends are also changing because of this. So the solution has to also come from you guys, where we try to figure this out together. Yeah.
So
on that note, we are talking about all of this stuff. Even your parents, even your other elderly uncles and aunties might not really know about these issues. You might have noticed that how many of your parents are just glued onto their phones? I've seen my parents just glued onto their phones, and I really want to get them out of their phones. So we need your help to understand.
And they share random messages.
Sometimes misinformation and all of that. They just share random WhatsApps that makes no sense at all. They're like, oh, don't get the vaccine. It's going to kill you or something like that. So we need your help to understand what you are going through as well, and come up with kind of a solution in how to combat these four issues that we just talked about today.
Yeah, and we also want you guys to start having this discussion with your friends and with your family and start talking about this more publicly, and even using technology to help us as well, right? So as we, I think, mentioned many times now, we don't think technology in itself is bad, right? We can make use of it to do good things, right? And that's why when we were having the icebreaker session, you guys said there are things you love and things you hate, right? So if we can all get together and start talking about these issues on social media, spreading our own memes, our own videos, our own ideas talking about these issues, I think we can make a great impact amongst our friends, amongst our family, and hopefully all of society. So
just to add, and how I think your group is different is that you're self-aware. Then there's a lot of us just going through this and all of that, but not self-aware that this is like you all said. Yes, there's an addiction problem, but you're aware of that. So some of your friends, some of our parents, if some people might not be self-aware, and the first step to solving it is also being self-aware. And like I said, like you guys can change this. You saw what a 17-year-old has accomplished at the moment, and she's making an impact globally. So I think you guys really do have the potential to come up with something really good.
So as I mentioned before, the timeline for this is the final product. The videos have to come out by December, right? So we'll hopefully, if the Corona situation gets better, we'll be able to meet up and actually shoot the videos. If not, maybe we'll go into animated form, right? That will be also interesting. We have a lot of artists and animators here, so maybe we can do that. So it's still open to discussion, and we'll do this together, right? So the next workshop that we'll be focusing on will be on privacy. Right, so we'll have one full workshop about privacy, okay? And this will happen 2 weeks from now. So this will be on the weekend, 26th or 27th, right? And Dimuthu has asked, is it possible to discuss the different times for meeting? Is this time okay with everyone? Is anyone having trouble 6 to 8 on Sundays? Dimuthu, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, Dimuthu.
මට තියෙනවා 6 9 එහෙම මේ
class
වෙලාවට.
එක. Right.
Is Saturdays 6 to 8 good?
Everyone else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nishan, you're muted.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah. Just put a thumbs up reaction if you're okay with it. Just
and
put
even on the group, we'll tell everyone who left early, we'll ask them as well. We'll figure it out.
We'll have so the options are Saturday or Sunday this time. I think this is the best time for us to have it. So we'll get back to you guys. We have 2 weeks to do it. So in those 2 weeks, we want you to start researching. Right, so we are going to talk about privacy, and most of you are aware of what a privacy statement is. Right?
Dimuthu brought it up. Dimuthu are a WhatsApp privacy statement.
Yeah, so every social media platform has something called a privacy statement that tells us what sort of information is being shared, right? What are the privacy kind of limitations in the app, and we don't read this usually. When we create an account, right, we just say okay and we accept it. Right, so what we want you to do is pick a social media platform, either Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, whatever. Pick it and try and find its privacy statement, and try to read through a bit and mark the important parts in it. Like try and figure out what are the information you're giving away to these social media platforms, right?
Yeah, information on what you have control about and what you don't have control on. And what these social platforms can snoop around and what they don't. So just go through them and then see if any of that makes you uncomfortable. See if any of those are okay and not okay, and just come back to us and be like, okay, this is what's up.
Yeah. So what we're so in between these workshops, what we'll have are these projects, tiny projects that you can. Like, we don't want you to waste too much time. I know we are already busy, but whenever you get
you have exams, do it when you have time.
Yeah, don't stress at
Yeah.
all. Like if you all have exams, it's fine. You can come to the next workshop and not have done this at all. It's completely okay. But it will be awesome if you have the time to do it. Read a privacy statement. And the second project that we have for you is think of creative content around privacy. Right? So this can be memes, this can be videos, right? This can be music, right? Whatever, like all of you are different artists from different backgrounds. This can be a
Something
piece of,
written.
yeah, it can be a story, a short story, a script.
Or even a reply. Then what Vibhuti read is like a reply to a private statement.
Exactly.
Right? So even something can be simple.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can we even sing a song?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, you
absolutely.
can even sing a
Any
song,
form.
right? So come up with some sort of creative content. Don't share it with anyone yet. We'll share it amongst ourselves first, and then we'll discuss them. We'll maybe even work on it and improve them, right? So if you have any cool creative ideas, think around privacy. Spend the next 2 weeks thinking about something that you can show all of us, right? And finally, we want you to have a small notebook.
Extra one. This is additionally to the.
We can, I think, do everything together. So have a notebook or some sort of journal where you can take down the notes of these workshops, right? So write them down, keep track of what we are asking you, and basically the discussions that we're having, because they'll be really helpful when you're coming up with this creative content, right? And what we want you to do is start tracking your social media use and digital technology use, right? Kind of like a diary, like how many hours you spent today, what did you do on digital media, something like that.
Your
own-
reactions, and this you don't have to share with us at all. This is just a simple exercise for yourself. Like I said, you guys are self-aware. This is going to start making you even more self-aware, and you might question, you might find interesting things, your reactions, even if it's a simple sentence you write to how you reacted to something. This is just for yourself, guys. So throughout, we are going to keep one for ourselves, and we can decide what we do with it later, or it can just be for yourself.
Yeah. So on that note, is there anything, Nishan, Sanjit, you guys want to add as well?
I think you've covered it.
Oh, good. I think you covered everything.
Okay, awesome. So we'll keep in touch. Oh yeah, Discord. So we need to talk about that really quick as well. So how many of you all are on Discord? If you all can raise your hands, or have you heard about Discord? We have four.
Many, right?
We have one. We have 5.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah.
What, 8? About half of
About,
actually.
yeah.
Half of us.
So Nishan, they want.
Also knows.
Yeah, Kitme is also, I think, on Discord. Anyway, so
Discord කියලා app එකක් තියෙනවා මේ අහලා තියෙනවද? අහලා තියෙනවා. Okay.
so අහලා තියෙනවා. පාවිච්චි කළා නැත්ද නේ? So yeah, so Discord is kind of like a chatting app, right? And also we can have video calls like this. So we were thinking whether it would be better to move from WhatsApp to Discord.
Because on Discord, kids say, for example, then if we start working on specifically cyberbullying, we can have a separate chat, because what happens on WhatsApp is everything kind of gets lost everywhere. So if we can have separate channels. So, okay.
So
we can properly, nicely categorize each topic. And under that each topic, all of you can just put your, like everyone can contribute, as opposed to having so many groups on WhatsApp.
Yeah, because eventually you will be working in groups also, as writers, as actors, as producers, or, you know, so it might be easier for you also, so we can think about.
Yeah, so we are telling a lot of good things about Discord, but Sanjit had this problem, was worried that are we introducing you all to a new social media platform while also telling you how dangerous social media platforms are. So we are going to leave that choice to you, right? So we don't want to kind of push this on you guys if you all are uncomfortable and worried about joining a new social media platform, right? So there are, like I said at the start of this workshop, there are good things and bad things about everything. If you think that you can handle it, let us know. So again, we will have 2 polls in the WhatsApp, we'll have one poll about which day you want the workshop to be, Saturday or Sunday. And we'll also have a poll about whether y'all are okay with joining Discord or not, right? We'll put that on the WhatsApp. Please respond in the next few days, right? And then we'll decide whether we should go ahead with it or not. If you have serious concerns about joining it, and even amongst ourselves, Sanjit or Nishan or Piyumi, if you feel like that this is problematic, please let us know, and then we can decide what the best way to go ahead. I myself feel like it might be very easy for us to manage all of you because there's about 20 of you, 23 of you, and it will be easy on Discord, but if it's a concern, we can just stick to WhatsApp. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. This was amazing.
Shavi, do you have a question? Sorry, is your hand up or is it from before?
Yeah, no, sorry, my hand is up from before.
Okay, no problem.
And Anuj just asked in the chat about whether we must download Discord.
So Discord, yeah. So yeah, once we agree on whether we should go on Discord or not, you'll have to download a small app, or you can use, I think, the browser as well. And there's a small phone app as well, so you can use it on your computer, phone, as well as your browser. All right. So once we decide whether to use it or not, you can decide to download it, right? So no need to download it right now.
Telegram channel
Telegram WhatsApp ගොඩක් එක වගේ නිසා චොට්ටක්
ඒක ටිකක් එක වගේ මේකේ පොඩි
Telegram එකේ වැඩ වෙලා තින්දා මේ ඒතකොට channel ගොඩක් අපිට හදන්න නෙවෙයි මේ අපේ topics හතර
මේකට වෙනම Discord channel එකක් හදනවා. Telegram channel දාමු මේ කියන්නේ group මේකේ updates ඒව දාගන්න.
මේ Discord එක ඇතුලේ පුළුවන් දෙමුතු වෙනම separate channels උත් දාන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ updates වලට අපිට වෙනම එකක් දාන්න ඕන නම් එහෙමත් පුළුවන්. මෙහෙම කරමු. අපි decide කරොත් if we decide we'll give you a small tutorial.
Yeah, අපි පෙන්නන්න Discord පාවිච්චි කරන විදිය කොහොමද? මේ ඒක ඇතුලේ chat කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ Telegram එකේ. Okay.
And finally wanted to thank you all for really like bringing everything to the table. Like it's like the way forward is that you all actually take the lead on this. Like today we did a lot of talking, but eventually it will be you guys and us doing most of the talking and like research, and we'll be doing it together. So great job.
Yeah, amazing. Like I honestly like this exceeded my expectations. So really amazing work, everyone. We loved your submissions and we loved having you here. It was really fun, and we hope to see you in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So have a great week.
We don't have to listen to 50-year-old Marlene and Piyumi talking a lot. Maybe hopefully in the next one the kids will be talking.
Yeah, so hopefully we can hear you talk instead of us giving our old opinions on these things. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have an amazing 2 weeks. Make sure you are digitally aware of the thing, aware of the time you're spending, and make sure you protect your own digital well-being and your friends and your family as well.
Also,
thanks a lot, guys.
Don't hesitate to reach out to us via the WhatsApp group if you guys need any help when it comes to your project. Yeah.
And one simple thing, even today, if you felt like some of the things were too fast, or you needed more translations, just let us. You can private message us and just let us know anytime, right?
Yeah. So
also, we can send them the recording as well, no?
Yes.
We'll send everyone the recording as well, and maybe we can make a small Google Drive or something and share everything. Okay, so thanks everyone. Stay safe, stay at home, and take care of each other. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Right. See you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
See you all.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Dimutu has his hand.
Oh, Dimutu.
අපිට මේ අනිත් කට්ටිය නිර්මාණ ටික බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්ද?
අපිට පුළුවන්. අපි අහලා කට්ටියකම share කරමු. හොඳ ඒවා. I think it will be good also.
WhatsApp group එකේ share කරන්න.
මොකද මේ හොඳ ඒවා ටිකක් තිබ්බා. එක
privacy point එකට දැන් ආපහු අපි එනවා. අපි අනිත් ඒගොල්ලෝගේ මේක අරගෙන මේ අවසර ඇතුව share කරන්න පුළුවන්.
Yeah. Mang hitane eka api creative content hadaddi it will be good for us. We'll ask everyone and we'll share.
Yeah. Okay, Devdutt.
Thanks,
Thank
Devdutt.
you.
Thank you.
See you.
See you.
Tushant, was everything okay for you?
Yes.
Okay. So in the next time we will also have Chris. So if you need any form of translation or you want to give your answers in Tamil or English, anything, that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Tushant.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks for your opportunity.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I leave it.